Hello, everyone. We are live from Toronto and talking about immigration to Canada. My name is Al Parsai. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I have been practicing for the past 10 years. I also teach immigration consulting at Ashton College in Vancouver. My practice is in Toronto, though. And I'm the author of the bestseller book, 88 Tips on Immigration to Canada. So today I'm here to answer your questions, talk about the immigration during pandemic, and those kind of things. You probably know that coronavirus pandemic has affected immigration to Canada. The government of Canada has promised to invite 401,000 immigrants this year to Canada. However, with the closure of the borders, with the closure of many of the visa offices all over the world, we don't really know if they can facilitate immigration of people from outside Canada. So I suspect that the most of the focus will be on immigration for people who are already inside Canada, like international students that are already inside Canada, or temporary foreign workers that are already inside Canada, or refugee claimants that are already inside Canada. So there is a chance we will see a lot of opportunities for those people who are already inside Canada to become permanent residents, and then maybe some enhancements in terms of immigration from outside Canada. The other issue that we can focus on is the sponsorship of parents and grandparents. You need to know that the government intends to invite 30,000 people to apply under sponsorship of parents and grandparents. This means that if you are a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada and you meet the financial requirements and other requirements, then you may sponsor your parents or grandparents to Canada and their family members. However, you need to reside inside Canada. You need to meet the financial requirements for the past 3 years. The minimum necessary income is usually 30% above LICO or low income cutoff or poverty line in Canada. With the exception of year 2020, the government decided to issue a public policy and say because in 2020, Canadians didn't make enough money. In that situation, we will not expect people to have that much income. So we haven't had any announcement by the government yet. They haven't mentioned when they are going to accept people to apply for parental sponsorship. But my suspicion is that probably in March or April, but we have to wait. They will probably open this for a few days, and then the people will enter the lottery. They will enter their names, and then when they enter their names, the government picks 30,000 applications from the list, and those people may apply. We already have some clients that they want us to apply on their behalf. So if you're interested, you can get in touch with my company. Visit settler.ca for more information. And before I receive any messages or comments, I also would like to thank everybody for following our YouTube channel. We currently have more than 4,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel. This is amazing. Last year, this time, we had less than 400 people registered to our YouTube channel. So this is a huge growth in less than 12 months. And I truly thank everybody who has followed us. Without you following us, without sharing my videos with other people, liking them, subscribing to our channel, this channel would have not existed. My plan this year is that to do my best and publish videos, 3 videos per week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and also go live every Sunday around 11 a.m. Toronto time or Eastern Standard Time, and just communicate with you, answer any questions you have, etc., etc. And of course, on Sundays, I work from home. So that is a more relaxed environment to get in touch with you. The other issue that I would like to talk about is the issue of express entry. So obviously, this is a hot button topic, and the government promotes it heavily. We expect to see around 130,000 people immigrate to Canada under the express entry system this year. If that really happens, this means that hopefully we'll see some drop in the CRS score. So the CRS score last year, the lowest CRS score that last year we had by the end of the year for every program was 468, which is a very, very high CRS score. It means that you need to be anywhere, usually you need to be between 25 to 35 years old. You need to hold at least a master's degree, and your English language level needs to be CLB 10. So hopefully you will have at least 468 points to be selected, which is a very, very tough situation to meet. Obviously, you may not be exactly what I explained and still have 468 points, but that's a typical person who receives 468 points. And because of that, the government of course, inviting more people, and hopefully we will see some drop in the number of people who are applying under express entry. The CR score hopefully will drop. This year in January, the government only invited Canadian experience class and provincial nominees. With a Canadian experience class are those people who already have worked in Canada for at least 1 year, means in the past 3 years, you worked in Canada with a valid work permit for at least 1 year, and your job was a NOC 0, NOC A, or NOC B job. It means that NOC 0, it means managerial positions. NOC A means jobs that usually need to go to university. Hello, SK. And NOC B jobs are usually the kind of jobs that you need to hold a college diploma or certificate to be able to do them. And then again, you need to take the English test or French test and other issues to apply. So in January, the government only invited Canadian experience class and also some PNP applicants. And with PNP, it means you are in the pool of express entry, but a province decides to consider you for immigration to their province. In those situations, you will be able to receive extra points, actually up to 600 extra points, and then it will boost your points under express entry system, and you can apply for immigration under PNP express entry. We don't know when the government will go back to all programs for express entry. It's an unfortunate situation, because if they continue not inviting federal skilled worker and federal skilled trades class, we will again see a jump in the CRS score. So let's keep our fingers crossed that they will change their policy soon and the CRS will drop. But for a Canadian experience class, CRS currently is around 454, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Hello, Genk Fatahu, sorry. So the other issue is about spousal sponsorship, because many people ask me this question. With spousal sponsorship, it is going. However, if your spouse is outside Canada, then we need to submit your application to Sydney, Nova Scotia. Yes, please post your question and I will answer it. We need to submit the application to Sydney, Nova Scotia for spousal cases, and Sydney, Nova Scotia is not very active nowadays, and it may take them several months before they even issue a file number for you, or they issue the acknowledgement of receipt, or AOR. And with those spouses that apply inside Canada, in that situation, those spouses, their application goes to CPC Mississauga, and CPC Mississauga is much better than Sydney, Nova Scotia. However, it doesn't mean that the application will be processed quickly. I've had even cases that the government kind of processed the application, and they informed us that they are ready to issue permanent residency to my client. They transferred the application to the office in Etobicoke, and the Etobicoke office is non-responsive. So that's an interesting development. We every time we resolve one issue, we encounter another one. For example, with humanitarian and compassionate considerations, I had a case that was approved a couple of months ago. We submitted all the documents to the office in Niagara Falls, and they haven't issued permanent residency for my client yet. So it's a weird situation. Okay, so there's a question here from FAZHHH. The question is that, can you explain minor students visa? Of course. So if a child is already inside Canada, a minor child, and by minor we mean children that are less than 18 years old. In some provinces in Canada, age of majority is 19, so even children who are 18 could be considered minor children. But from an immigration point of view, it is in your best interest that you consider age of majority to be 18. So if a child is under 18, that child is considered a minor child. If they are already inside Canada and their parents are not on visit visa, then the child has the right to study in Canada. For minor children that their parents are here in Canada, and those parents are either permanent residents of Canada or citizens of Canada, or they are on a work permit or a study permit, the child has the right to study in Canada under Section 30, Sub 3 of the Immigration Act. But for children who are outside Canada, if they want, and you say that you're from Sri Lanka, so if the child is from outside Canada and they want to study in Canada, this is doable, okay? Of course, right now, because of coronavirus, it's almost impossible that you register your child in Canada for elementary school or high school in 2021 before September. Hopefully by September, the problem of travel restrictions will be resolved. But for this coming semester, I mean, the spring semester, it's almost impossible. But let's say we don't have the issue of travel restrictions to Canada, a minor child can study in Canada. However, there are a few things that you need to know. Number one, for minor children, they need to have a custodian. Custodian or a guardian is somebody who takes the responsibility of that child in Canada. So it could be, for example, the child's uncle or the child's aunt or a family member or a friend that you know, that person will accept the responsibility of that child inside Canada. Okay, so that's number one. You need a custodian. Number two is that you need to, of course, get admission from an elementary school or high school. You can get admission from public schools or private schools. It doesn't matter, depending on your preference. A typical public school in Canada for elementary studies costs you anywhere between $10,000 to $13,000 in tuition fee for 1 year, and we are talking about Canadian dollars. And for high school, a typical high school costs tuition fee is between $14,000 to $16,000. Now, the exact amount depends on the city that you are targeting. For private schools, some of the private schools are cheaper, some of the private schools are more expensive. The other issue that you need to know is about where this child is going to live. So for minor children, you have two options. Either you sign them to a boarding school, it means a school that is 24/7, or you need to arrange homestay. Homestay, it means that they live with a family inside Canada, which of course that will cost you. It could cost you anywhere between 1,000 to sometimes 1,500, 1,500, or even more per month, just for your child to be with to have homestay or to be in a boarding school. And some boarding schools are very expensive. Some boarding schools could be $5,000 to $8,000 per month. So it depends on what kind of boarding school you choose. Now, one big question that many people ask me, can I come with my child? And then what are the benefits for me if I go to Canada with my child? This, in theory, the answer is yes, you may go with your child. In this situation, you could even resolve the issue of custodian because you are the custodian of your own child. Having said that, some of the school boards, they expect you to introduce a custodian in Canada first, and then you can switch over to yourself as the custodian. So you could be the custodian of your child. And obviously, because you are here in Canada with your child can also stay with you. So you don't need to pay for homestay separately. It's just whatever residence you have for yourself that will be for your child. Having said that, when you are coming to Canada, if you are from a country that you need a visa, you need to apply for a visit visa for yourself and a study permit for your child. It depends on the officer whether they approve it or not. But if they approve it when you come to Canada, because your child has a study permit, it doesn't entitle you to work in Canada. So because of your child's study permit, you cannot work in Canada. You are just a visitor and you cannot work, and you need to bring money from your home country. An alternative to this setting is that what if you apply for a work permit or a study permit and your child accompanies you? Because if you get a study permit to Canada, then of course you need to pay for the tuition fee, but your child will be free if they go to public school, so they don't need to pay for tuition fee. And also, because you have a study permit to Canada, you also are permitted to work up to 20 hours per week in Canada. Or if you have a work permit, obviously you can work full time. But I don't want to go into the details of that. So think about it. Think about your options when you're thinking about bringing your minor children to Canada to study. Okay. So next question is that how about having a relative in Canada who are citizens? Can they sponsor me offshore? So the simple answer to this question is no. Your relatives in Canada cannot sponsor you for the purpose of immigration to Canada. Okay. There are some exceptional situations. I have some articles on my website and actually some videos on YouTube about, for example, if Canadians could sponsor their nieces or nephews or their brothers or sisters or their uncles or aunts. So you can watch those videos for the details, but simply put, the answer is no. A Canadian citizen or permanent resident can sponsor their family members for immigration to Canada only if that Canadian citizen or permanent resident, they do not have anybody. And by anybody, I mean a spouse, a common law partner, children, father, mother. In that situation, yes, they could pick one of their family members and sponsor that family members. But believe me, these are very exceptional situations. I probably receive 1 or 2 contacts per year that they actually qualify for this situation. It doesn't go beyond that. In terms of refugees, yes, your relatives can help you. And by refugee, I mean in two situations. One is that if you are displaced from your home country. So, for example, you are from Iran and you go to Turkey and then you file for refugee with UNHCR. So you go to the United Nations and ask for to be considered a convention refugee. If UNHCR approves you and then you have relatives in Canada, that will help you to tell them that I would like to go to Canada, be resettled to Canada because I have relatives in Canada. Beyond that, we have a program in Canada called Group of Five. If your relative asks four other people, and this Group of Five, they say that they will sponsor you to Canada for your resettlement, then your resettlement will be quicker and you will definitely be resettled to Canada. Having said that, the resettlement process also takes several months. It doesn't mean that it will be done quickly, but your relative could help you with your resettlement for refugee. The second issue is that if you are in the United States and you want to move to Canada and at the port of entry file for refugee, then unfortunately you cannot, because we have an agreement with the US called Safe Third Country. And basically the officers at the border, they will issue you an order to go back to the United States because you can file for refugee over there. Having said that, if you have close relatives in Canada, because of those close relatives, they will allow you to file for refugee at the port of entry. I hope I answered your question. Okay, so the next question is that I have an offer from a guy there in Canada to work for him. He got the LMIA document positive, so I want to know what document do I have to show to the Embassy of Canada in order to get a visa. So generally speaking, if you are from a country that you need a visa to come to Canada, nowadays you can apply for a work permit in two different ways. Number one is to apply online. Number two is to apply to a visa application center. So you cannot go to the embassy. Unfortunately, the embassy do not open their doors for work permit applications or visa anymore. Application online, you create an online application with IRCC. You go to cic.gc.ca, which is the website of the government of Canada, and then you create my GC account. And then when you create that GCK account, then you can enter your information. When you enter information, it creates a document checklist for you. And then you need to upload those documents, fill out the forms, pay the fee, which is currently $155 for a work permit plus $85 for biometrics fee. And then you submit the application and wait. If you want to go in person, then go on cic.gc.ca. They have a document checklist. You prepare those documents. And then with the help of those documents, you print all the forms, sign them, everything. You need to approach to a visa application center or a VAC that is close to you. And then you submit the documents on paper to the visa application center. They will charge you extra for processing the application. And then they will send it to the immigration authorities to decide what to do about your application, whether to approve it or not. Obviously, you can hire an immigration consultant like me, and we will help you with the process to apply. So the question is that if you can tell me on details, do I need to have experience on that particularly job offer? So the simple answer is yes. When you receive a job offer from a Canadian employer and you submit the work permit application, one of the big questions that the officer will ask under section 203 and 205 of the immigration regulations is that if this person qualified to do the job that they are claiming are going to do in Canada. If you do not qualify, how can you apply? Okay, so the next question. Good morning. I'm in the USA. I want to apply asylum in Canada border. This is right time. So the simple answer to your question is that no, it is not the right time, because if you come to the port of entry, first of all, when you are in the United States, if you want to apply for refugee at the port of entry in Canada, it is very likely they will send you back to Canada, to the States, because of the third safe country agreement that we have with the United States. As we said before, obviously, if the officers know that you have close relatives, they may allow you to apply. Having said that, because of travel restrictions and the closure of borders between Canada and the United States, you may not even get the chance to file for refugee. And they may send you back to Canada, because this is most likely considered a discretionary move to Canada, and they won't allow you to even apply. So this is not a good time, unfortunately. Okay, the next one. Thank you very much. The next question is that I'm from India. I'm looking for a study visa, but due to gap years, I'm not sure for getting it. After 12 studied, I have worked for 5 years in family construction business. Yes, and so for the gap, basically you need to prepare a study permit and explain that why you are studying and why you have decided Canada despite the options that you have in your home country. And it's up to the officer whether to accept this or not. So generally speaking, a gap between when you finish your studies in your home country and now you want to study in Canada could result in refusal of the application, but not necessarily. Okay, so they may, if you have a very good study plan that explains and justifies why you have decided to go to Canada and study, then the officer may consider that. Also, keep in mind that if you are from India, I highly recommend that you use the SDS option, or study direct stream, because when you use SDS option, the processing is quicker, and it doesn't mean that they will definitely approve your application, but your chances are a little bit higher than regular application for study permit. So the next questions, so that was the answer to your questions, SK. The next question is from Thanks May. How can I get an ECA for an occupational qualification apprenticeship? This will be for the AIPP. So the ECA process is relatively simple nowadays, ironically, because of COVID-19. Many of the organizations that they have, actually, they are doing this. They are doing it much better and more efficient. So what you need to do is that you need to get in touch with one of the 5 organizations that the government of Canada has identified as organizations for ECA. If you go on my website, I have actually unsettler.ca, and look for ECA Canada. I have listed those organizations, but I read these, actually, I'm just reading them from my website. So the first one is Comprehensive Education Services. This is by University of Toronto School of Continuing Studies. So that's one of the organizations. The other one is International Credentials Assessment Service of Canada, or ISAC, and ICAS, sorry. And that is another one. This third one, which is probably the largest one, is World Education Services, or WES. And make sure if you are using WES, use WES Canada. And in turn, the next one is International Qualification Assessment Services, or ICAS. And the last one, International Credentials Evaluation Services. So you can approach any of those organizations, and they are the experts. So tell them that this is what you want. They will assess your credentials. If you are a pharmacist or if you are a doctor, you cannot refer to these organizations. For pharmacists and doctors, you need to go to the specific organizations that are dealing with pharmacists and also with doctors. Okay, so how long does spousal application take now inland? Well, in theory, they say 12 months, but nowadays it takes a lot more than 12 months. I had an approval about a month ago, a month and a half ago, that they have been waiting for about 18 months. And I have actually applications that are waiting for more than 1 year inland, and they are not still being processed. So the processing is definitely nowadays more than 1 year, hopefully less than 1.5 years, but sometimes you may even see more than 1.5 years. So you need to, but the good news is that you can apply for an open work permit for your spouse. While they are waiting, they can work in Canada. Having said that, even the work permit application process could take several months before they actually issue it. But at least this is an option for inland applications. Okay, so next one is that how long, okay, the next one, gracias por tu trabajo. Thank you for your dedication. Oh, thank you very much. By the way, unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish. I have to learn it though, but many of my clients from Hispanic community, from Mexico, from Chile, from Argentina, from Venezuela, from Cuba, from Spain, and many other Hispanic communities. So I'm proud to represent them. Two of my employees, they are actually, one of them is from Mexico, the other one is from Colombia, and they speak perfect Spanish, obviously. And we are more than happy to help Hispanic community. So thank you very much, Jamie. So please, how can I get an ECA for an early childhood education apprenticeship diploma? It's an apprenticeship. So again, as I mentioned, your best bet to approach one of those ECA organizations. They are expert in the field, and they will tell you what you need to do. Okay, good morning. Am I eligible to travel to Canada as a refugee this February 2021 from Uganda? So if you have been approved for resettlement, then this is the government who needs to basically facilitate your travel to Canada, and they will tell you. If you intend to travel and file for refugee, unfortunately, the answer is almost no. The government of Canada increased the restrictions for travel to Canada just as we speak today. So they actually canceled Canadian flights to a few countries, including Caribbean, and if I'm not mistaken, Mexico. The other issue is that if you are a traveler to Canada, you need to apply, in most cases, you need to apply for, assuming that you have a visa. If you don't have a visa, you need to apply for a visa. And they usually do not process visa applications nowadays. But if you, let's say you have a visa or ETA and you want to travel to Canada, you need to apply for travel exemption. And travel exemption will be issued if you are visiting an immediate family member in Canada, you are uniting with your family members in Canada, or you are visiting an extended family member in Canada. So that's one approach. The other approach is that your presence in Canada is in the best interest of the nation, which is basically, it needs to be approved by the minister himself. So traveling, getting those exemptions is so difficult. Now, assuming that you receive your exemptions, when you reach the Canadian border, you need to give a test, a COVID test. Even if you have given, you have to give a test before entering, but at the border, they will get another test. They will send you to a hotel that has an agreement with the government of Canada. That hotel charges you $2,000 for staying in the hotel for 3 days. Within those 3 days, they review your COVID test. If your COVID test is positive, they will send you to government-run facilities. If it's not, then you need to self-isolate for another 11 days in Canada. And imagine all these troubles. And by the way, that you can only nowadays travel to from outside Canada to only 4 cities in Canada: to Montreal, to Toronto, to Calgary, and to Vancouver. So if you think about all these restrictions, traveling to Canada nowadays is not a good option at all. It's very expensive. Even if I, as a Canadian citizen, go outside Canada, on the way back, I have to go through all this hassle. So, no, the answer is no, no, no for now. Okay. Okay. So, what is the next question? How long does Outland spousal visa usually take? So, before COVID-19, it was really good actually, because the government in December 2016 made some changes for outside Canada spousal applications, and they reduced the processing time under 12 months. Since the new system, most of my applications were processed anywhere between 3 months to 12 months. I had 1 or 2 applications that they were extended beyond 12 months, but they processed like in 13 months, 14 months, not more than that. Unfortunately, nowadays the situation is different, because when you submit your application to the office in Sydney, Nova Scotia, it takes them several months to issue even the file number. For example, I submitted an application in November, or actually it was sooner, in October last year, and I just received a temporary file number for my clients. So after 4 months of waiting, I just received a file number or an acknowledgement of receipt. And when they will actually process the application inland, because they need to process the application first inland, approve the sponsor. After approving the sponsor, in this case, my client is Colombian, the application will go to Bogota, and then God knows how long it will take in Bogota to process the application. So simply put, for spousal applications, there is a chance that if it's outside Canada, it takes more than 12 months to process the application. So think about a potential of 1.5 years, which is harsh. Honestly, it is really harsh, especially for spouses to be separate from each other. Having said that, there is a trick here. Nowadays, the government issues fiance visa, if you will, which they normally don't. If you go on my website, I have an article. On YouTube, I have a video about the fact that Canada does not issue fiance visas. However, nowadays they do issue fiance visas. And if you want to know exactly what I mean by that, go on my website, settler.ca, and search for extended family members. And I have an article that explains how you can apply for your extended family members. And I believe I recorded a video, and that video is also available on YouTube. So, hello, sir. I love your programs, and you always make me very optimistic on my immigration plans to Canada. Thank you very much. Kindly show me the right direction to follow. I want to travel to Canada as a refugee. Okay, as I mentioned, nowadays, because of travel restrictions, unfortunately, and this is from Christopher, it's not an option traveling to Canada. Having said that, when the travel restrictions are gone, if you are holding a valid visit visa to Canada, if you travel to Canada, you may file for refugee at the port of entry. Or if you enter Canada later on, you can go to an inland office and apply for refugee. Keep that in mind. When you are applying for a visit visa to Canada, you are saying to the Canadian authorities that you will not break the immigration law. And when you come to Canada, you will leave Canada before the expiry of your visa in Canada. So if, for example, if they allow you to stay in Canada for 6 months, you will leave Canada before 6 months. If you apply for refugee at the port of entry or later inland, then you are breaking that promise, which falls under Section 179 B of the immigration regulations. And because of that, you are in breach of the Immigration Act. And under Section 41, A of the Immigration Act, the officer will issue you a removal order. So in other words, it's a tricky situation. You travel to Canada, you apply for refugee at the port of entry, or inland apply for refugee. As soon as you apply that, they will issue you a removal order. That removal order is called a departure order, but they won't activate it. In other words, they won't enforce it. They won't remove you from Canada. They will allow you to go through the process of refugee, which involves in filling out a few forms, including your basis of claim, why you are claiming for refugee, and then submit it to the immigration authorities. They will review it. They will transfer it to a court-like system. It's called Immigration Refugee Board of Canada. A special division called RPD, or Refugee Protection Division, will receive that document. If they find that your case is simple, then they will process the application without a hearing. If they believe that the case is complex, they will invite you for a hearing, and if you win that hearing, you become a protected person. When you become a protected person, you may apply for permanent residence, and that removal order is gone. So that's a very brief explanation of the process. But for more information, I have actually a 20-minute video about refugee applications. If you see my recent application that says refugee, filing for refugee in Canada during pandemic, on that video, I have a link to my main video that explains the whole thing. So you can watch that as well. But if you're outside Canada currently and you intend for file refugee inside Canada, unfortunately, this is not a good option right now. Okay, so the next question is that, do you have to, sorry, oh yeah, the next question is the Goodwich Za. Do you have to stay at the hotel if you have a family member in your reunification? Unfortunately, the new policy says yes. So basically, this has happened. So let's say you have a family member in Canada, you want to join them, and they already approved your travel to Canada. You come to Canada. When you reach the port of entry, they will run a COVID test. They will send you for 3 days to a hotel, and you have to pay $2,000 for that hotel. Then after 3 days, if your test result is negative, you can go for self-quarantine for another 11 days. But if your test is positive, unfortunately, they will send you to a government-run facility to keep you there isolated from the rest of the population for as long as it takes. Okay. Does the finance visa take quicker than spousal? Can you apply for fiance visa if you have a spousal application in process? So yes, in theory, the current fiance path should take a lot quicker, because you do not apply to a visa office. You actually apply to a special department for this purpose. We actually submit the application by email. You don't even upload it or anything. And then if they say the processing time is 2 weeks, okay? But in reality, it could take a lot longer. But imagine even if 2 weeks becomes 6 weeks, it's still, comparing to a regular TRV application and coming to Canada, is much better. And if they approve it, then they will actually issue your spouse or common law partner the opportunity to travel to Canada, because they also have issued the exemption at the same time. So they issue the visa and exemption at the same time. But keep that in mind. It's not guaranteed that they approve it. They may refuse it. The other issue is that, can you make that application if you already have an application that is ongoing? Yes. This falls under Section 22, Sub 2 of the Immigration Act. It is called dual intent. If you already have an ongoing immigration application, the officer cannot refuse your application, your temporary application, because you have a permanent application. Okay. This doesn't mean they will definitely approve it, but because of your permanent residency application, they are not allowed to refuse your temporary application. So the simple answer is that you may apply. The process is relatively easy because it is done by email and through a special department, and within a few weeks you will have an answer, and hopefully that answer will be okay. If they say yes, then your spouse or common law partner can join you. We have actually a special program at our office. If you're interested, you can hire us for the whole process. Just get in touch with us privately and we will let you know. We will send you a proposal. If you like it, then you can hire us and we'll do the whole thing for you. That means asking for a visa for your spouse or common law partner and also asking for an exemption at the same time. Okay, so would you know when the immigration program for Group of Five will resume? So unfortunately, I don't do resettlement, so I don't have first-hand information on that. I know that this is right now because of coronavirus situation, it's kind of stalled, but that's as far as I know. If I get in touch with information that is reliable, I will definitely post it on YouTube or on my website or both. So my brother is also director in the same company since 2008. We both have around 200,000 Canadian liquid funds each. Your team suggested us both a C11 work permit route for Canadian immigration. Can you please guide us about our chances? What is the success rate of C11? Can you also guide us about our chances through ICT? And hello, how can we asylum seeker that's stuck in the, oh, okay, sorry, that was another question. So about code C11, I don't know the specifics of your case, and obviously this is a public forum, so I cannot comment on that. If you are already in touch with our team, obviously they have probably run your case with me as well to decide what would be the best option. But if you want to talk to me directly, you can get in touch with my team and we will look into your options. But generally speaking, which one is better, C11 or C12? Or in other words, your work permit as an entrepreneur versus work permit as an intra-company transfer? It all depends on the case. I mean, with intra-company transfer, you prefer that you are from a GATS country, or you are from a CUSMA, that means you're Mexican or American, or we have some sort of FTA with your country. If it's not there, we still can apply for ICT, but to apply for ICT, we need to make sure that your home country company is big enough to justify ICT, and preferably multinational. I have, and then we compare it to C11, which is a work permit for entrepreneurs, and see which one is better. And then we weigh it, and based on that, we decide where to go. So it's a good idea if you actually get in touch with the person from our team that are in touch with you and exchange more information or ask for a meeting with me. Having said that, next week, I'm definitely not available for any meetings. What are the chances to apply for ARC this time? Should we do from Canada or from the home country? So basically, the chances for ARC are not basically less or more from the past. It's just that the processing time could be different. And generally speaking, when we apply for an ARC is when the person has already been removed from Canada. So generally speaking, the application for ARC is for outside Canada cases. If the applicant is inside Canada, we still may apply for ARC in certain situations. But generally speaking, yeah, the answer is for outside Canada cases. Okay, so the next one. Oh, okay. So the next one is from Liaquat Ali. Can I immigrate to Canada? I'm from Pakistan now. I'm a poor man. So generally speaking, Canada, and this is very unfortunate. But with the exception of refugee and family reunification cases, immigration to Canada is highly around people who have money, who have skills, who have work experience, and they are highly educated. So if you do not have good financial situations, your chances for immigration to Canada are very low. But having said that, you can fill out our assessment form. We will look at it, see if there are any chances for you. Okay, so the next question, I'm from Lebanon and I sent my self-employed application to Sydney on the 16th of March, and they sent me temporary file number or January 15, but no AOR. Yeah, so you could consider that temporary file number as your AOR, if you will, because that's the acknowledgement of receipt. It's actually your AOR. What has not been done is that they haven't processed your file yet. The reason that your file number is temporary is because they haven't reviewed your application yet. So they acknowledge the receipt of your application. Your AOR is there, but they haven't completed the reviewing your application. If they review your application and they find out that you have submitted enough documents and forms, then what will happen is that they will send your application to the local visa office, and then which for you it's most likely it will be either the visa office in Beirut or the visa office in Abu Dhabi. And then when they send it to the visa office, they will they will remove that X from your file number. Okay, so we are already at the 50-minute mark. TED Talk says that you shouldn't talk more than 18 minutes. And we already talked more than 50 minutes. And I would like to take this opportunity. Thank you very much for subscribing to our channel, following me, your comments, visiting our website, hiring our team. I truly appreciate it. Please encourage people to sign up to our channel. The more subscribers we have, the more followers we have, it encourages me to produce more videos, talk about different issues about immigration. Remember, immigration to Canada is tough. It's not easy. Don't take it lightly. Please study a lot. And the last thing is that I want to thank everybody for buying my book, 88 Tips on Immigration to Canada. If you want to know your purchasing options, it's available on Amazon websites. It was actually it's close to 2 years that I published this book, and it's still considered the bestseller under the immigration law in Canada. So please consider buying 88 Tips on Immigration to Canada, and that will, of course, support me. Again, thanks again. There are 2 more questions before I say goodbye. Can asylum seeker contact you for asylum application? Yes, this is what I do. I'm a counsel for immigrants to immigration appeal cases and refugee cases. So if you are interested, get in touch with us. Yes, of course. I am refugee. What program can I apply? So if you're a refugee in Canada, you're eligible for an open work permit. You're also eligible to apply for a study permit. You are also eligible for IFHP, which is Interim Federal Health Program, which allows you to use free healthcare. And of course, if you have financial issues, you may apply for social welfare as well. And it depends on your case. But if you are from outside Canada, pretty much nothing. Sorry. Can I link my application with temporary file? So I'm not quite sure what is this question for. So I'm not quite sure. Oh, I'm from Lebanon. Okay, I got it. So honestly, I personally use a special portal for applications, and we definitely can link self-employed applications to our portal. In your case, you can probably use my GCIC, but because I'm not familiar with individual cases, I don't know how you can link it. And also because you have a temporary file number, the system may not accept it because system is very sensitive. If there are more than one letter in the beginning of the file number, it doesn't link it. And right now you have an XE instead of E. So wait for the file number to be finalized and then you can easily link it. But you know what? Just give it a try. If it allows you to link it, good for you. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. When they will remove that X, you can easily link it. Okay, but I don't know about the specifics of my GCIC because we use a special, immigration consultants and lawyers. We use something called IRCC portal for the authorized paid representative, and that portal has special tools for linking self-employed applications or startup applications to our portal, and that's what we do. And I assume that your case would be similar. And let me tell you the truth, there is no coronavirus in Pakistan. All these media people are lying. Okay, it has nothing to do with immigration to Canada, but thank you very much for sharing. How can asylum seeker in USA get Canada during the pandemic? So it's almost impossible, unfortunately. During pandemic, it's almost impossible. Okay, thank you very much. And I will come back next Sunday. So my plan is to have presentations, live sessions every Sunday at 11 a.m. Toronto time. Please make sure to join me. Thank you again. Don't forget to support me by buying my book, 88tips.ca. Believe me, it's a very good book. It's 4.1 star on Amazon.ca, and it has been identified as the bestseller in Canada under the immigration law. It's very simple. It's only 307 pages, but you will learn a lot from it. Bye now.